Hi, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing with a spiritual message for you. Hopefully, it will be meaningful for you in this coming week. Uh, but to start out, to kind of set the tone, we got some music by one of the fans we've had out here at the church, one of our great Unity musicians, Claudia Carawan. So I hope you'll enjoy this as much as I did when I found it. Sing along.
Gonna do if the hard times come? Keep my faith. What you gonna do when your dreams seem undone? Keep my faith. What you gonna do when they give you the runaround? Keep my faith. When they smile in your face and put you down? Keep my faith. Keep my faith. Keep my faith. If it hits the fan, keep my faith. If things don't go according to your plan, keep my faith. What you gonna do if they don't like the song you sang? Keep my faith. And they don't like the message that you bring. Keep my faith. Keep my faith. Keep my faith. Things hoped and prayed for, natural force that will break down any door. When your confidence takes a blow, hold true to what you know. All things are possible, all things are probable. You only need the size of a mustard seed. When the going gets tough, you gotta show the right stuff. You already got enough. What you gonna make a correction, point it in the right. In all you do, God has a plan for you. When others let you down, keep your feet on the ground and keep your judgment sound. Check this out. Despite what others may say or do, don't you know the greatest enemy lives inside of you? Thoughts of negativity, anger, addiction, choosing to live with drama and friction. Keep the high watch on your thoughts and your feeling. Keep your eyes on the prize with all your dealings. Negativity, get behind me. Say to your disbelief, get behind me. Say to negativity, get behind me. Say to your disbelief, get behind me. I'm gonna keep my faith. Ooh, keep my faith. This is what I'm gonna do now. But you keep my faith. This time I'm gonna keep my faith. But you're gonna keep my faith. But you're gonna keep my faith. I won't lose it this time. Oh, I'm gonna keep my faith. I'm gonna keep my faith.
That's great. Keep our faith, no matter what's going on there. And speaking about faith, sometimes the message is kind of hard to keep. And there's a story I wanted to share with you. There was a pastor at this Lutheran church and a pastor at a Swedish Covenant church just across the road. And a friend of mine saw them the other day, and they were standing at the road, and they were pounding the sign into the ground, and it read, "The end is near. Turn yourself around now before it's too late." And just then this car sped by them, and the driver leaned out and yelled, "Hey, leave us alone, you religious nuts." And right around the curve, they heard this screeching and a big splash. And the one minister turned to the other and said, you think maybe the sign should have just said, "Bridge out"? Well, I don't know about you, but I find sometimes I keep looking for these spiritual messages and directions, and I make it, whole thing is very complicated. But the truth is, it usually ultimately is very simple if we just go with the flow and release it and listen to that still small voice within. Stop the share here a minute. So, yeah, sometimes we do make just things so complicated, but I got a message of the day from the universe, and it wasn't something mystical. This was an email that I get weekly from the universe. And it said, each challenge adds to the suspense, adds to the mystery, adds to the chaos, adds to the possibilities, adds to the romance, adds to the venture, and adds to the joy. And I think that anything that adds to the joy is what we want to embrace, even though it may have all these other things with it. Boy, what joy it is when we finally cross a bridge that takes us to that place where we want to be. Here at Unity, this was a great week for us as we really started getting our new offices together anyway at the new property. There's a lot of things ahead of us, but boy, have we made a great big start. And it feels like we've crossed a bridge. And you know, one of the hardest things I think we ever have to learn is which bridge to cross and which bridges to burn. Well, at Unity Village, there is a bridge that I absolutely love. It's called, oh, let me go on here. There we go. It is the Bridge of Faith. And this is a bridge, if you've ever been to Unity Village, the campus down there has like two sides, and there's this water feature of fountains in the middle. In this Bridge of Faith, it was technically called the Charles and Myrtle Fillmore Bridge. The children built it in honor of the work that their parents had done. And this bridge is such a symbol, and it's just a wonderful place to stand and to listen to the water, be very peaceful. In the day that the bridge was dedicated, back in 1951, May Rowland, who had been the spiritual director of Silent Unity for many, many years, she said, "We are not only dedicating a bridge today, we are rededicating unity, for unity is a bridge of faith. In the years to come, untold thousands of people from all across the world will visit this place of beauty and peace and walk across the bridge." And they did. I've stood on it, and maybe some of you have stood on it too, and you've been down at Unity Village. It just is a sense of a beautiful way of crossing over. And really, each of us do this in our own lives. We cross over to that next adventure, whatever that may be. So, you know, very often when I find a symbol that keeps coming up for me, in this case, it's been bridge this week, I like to look at the metaphysics of it. And the first place that I go is look at the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary about, you know, where does bridge come up in the Bible? What does it tell us? And there's this land called Geshur, which is actually the land of the bridge. And it's a bridge that crosses over the River Jordan. And the interesting thing about this, the River Jordan is where the Hebrew people, when they escaped bondage from the Egyptians, and they wandered the desert for 40 years, and then they crossed over the bridge into Jordan. So it was so interesting that this would actually be, that's where we are right now. We've crossed the bridge from all that wandering, wondering what to do, and we've crossed the bridge into what really we would call the promised land, this beautiful new place that we have. And it says metaphysically that the bridge, the water that goes under it, is the current of our thought and consciousness, whatever that might be that we're holding. That's the River Jordan. But going over that bridge and moving into the promised land, and each of us has our own promised land, that just ideal place to be. It takes more than just our pure intellect, our pure thinking, our purely human, physical efforts, intellectual efforts. It's really about overcoming whatever is in front of us to a real spiritual awakening, being able to see God in all things, and the presence, the love, the connection in all things that are unfolding for us. Remember Will Rogers? He was quite a philosopher, kind of a guy next door philosopher. And he said, "I'd rather be the man who bought the Brooklyn Bridge than the man who sold it." And I thought, that's true. It's so much more empowering to go forward in that deep belief that there's an ultimate good in whatever I'm going through than to try to be tricking somebody. This is that intellect that's coming in to try to manipulate things, if you will. Well, we certainly here at Unity have been on a bridge of faith. Um, yeah, we're just looking for my share button here. Um, ah, okay, there we go. Okay, share screen. Because I wanted to give you a real bird's eye view of what has been going on for us. There is a picture of September 8th, 2019, after the fire, and our church was absolutely in shambles. And here we are, January of 2021, that's part of our new building, and only part of it. It doesn't show you all the land, it doesn't show you the offices, but it just tells you what can happen. We have crossed a very long bridge, and sometimes we couldn't even see the other end. Bridges are so important because they represent moving from that place that we may think we're trapped, giving us that transition into what our next stage of manifestation is. I'm going to stop sharing that. Okay, here we go. Do you remember as a kid playing a game called Mother May I? You know, somebody would be the leader, they would be, quote, the mother, and you would be all lined up and you say, Mother, may I take 2 steps forward or 3 steps forward? And she would say, or he would say, yes, you may. Or no, take a giant step backwards. Now, thinking about all the things that have happened over the last 16 months, I know personally, it seemed like sometimes I was given permission, yes, to take a couple steps forward. And other times it felt like I was being told I had to take a couple steps backwards. But what I really understand as we settle in here, that when I was told no, take a giant step backwards, it was really Spirit talking to me saying, that's not the direction you really want to go. Why don't you think about it a little bit? Why don't you let things evolve? And it's true for anything in our life. There are times that we get so frustrated because it just seems like this is what we're supposed to do, and there's blocks at every stop. And when we get stopped like that, and we get so befuddled and so humbled, and until we finally just, okay, surrender, I don't know what to do next. Those are the times that we're able to listen to that still small voice within. It's times we're able to hear a guidance that will really elevate what it is that we had in mind for whatever it is that we're working with. It just gives us an excellent next step. Sometimes, well, there's a lot of times we use bridges, the word bridge in our language to mean a lot of different things. So I thought today we'd kind of explore some of those little idioms that we use. Like, how about, oh, that's a bridge too far. Well, that means that the goal is just very ambitious. It just could seem absolutely impossible to accomplish. But you know, as we go through this journey, we have found that sometimes, though you may have the vision out here, there's a real benefit to taking those little steps one after another as they come up. In no rush to get to the farther end, to get to the end of this journey so we can begin another one, but to enjoy the journey that we're in, to savor each little step we make. And of course, you know, as I look at all the projects we have with this new property, things that need to be fixed or changed a bit to serve our needs absolutely the best way, we have this great gift called COVID, because COVID is giving us time to do this gently and at a pace that makes sense so that we don't have to redo anything. It also just allows us to savor and cherish each step of the way, each step in our journey here. But most of all, I think having that bridge too far, this huge project, as we really make our home in this new property, is that we know, because of all that has happened up to this point, that we are being divinely guided, that prayer is our support, that connection and community is the fuel that runs us, that there is just a perfect plan. In fact, I like to say the tagline for this building should be from a hole in one to holy one, WHOL, that kind of hole. So one of the other phrases we use for bridges is about building bridges, which means that we improve relationships with individuals. And you know, that is one of our goals when we had our town hall meeting last week, that we talked about things that we want to accomplish. And one of the things that came up, I like to say it's like finding God with skin on, making great relationships. We want to meet our neighbors. We want to become part of this neighborhood because that is in our DNA, that we are a force for good in our neighborhood. And even within the congregation here, being separated has some of our relationships we may have even forgotten about, and we want to rebuild them again. We want to make this friendly, open, and safe. Well, of course, besides building bridges, there's about burning one's bridges, making a decision that can't be undone. And, even though it has kind of a negative connotation, it actually has a very positive one too, because there are some things that we don't need to do again. There are some things that as we let go of them, we get to step into our future. As we actually release, we do not want to cross that bridge again. So we are letting it go. And think about it in our own lives. We may have had great relationships in kindergarten, but we can't, if we put too much effort into these relationships that we had when we were really different people, it takes away from the energy we have into building and living in the now, those things that are really important to us now. There's some other phrases too, like cross a bridge when you come to it, or before you come to it, or cross that bridge later. And boy, it really reminds us that there is a divine order, that either we trust in it or we try to manipulate it. And I know every time that I've tried to force something in my life, it was not necessarily the smoothest or the easiest or the most enlightening way to go. And sometimes crossing that bridge later is really important because it doesn't need to be done right now. It's not top priority in our life. And to worry and to build the bridge before it comes, well, that's that old bugaboo called worry, right? That we just invest this money into something that is even money, energy, time, into something that's even yet to happen. And it may never happen. So we don't need to build that bridge before we come to it. And then we also have the idea of bridging the gap. Sometimes we know it's not time to build the bridge, but we need to have something to carry us over until such time as we do take our consciousness to that next level in our life. So we may, we'll take it as unity. We have this COVID impact about when is it safe to get together again or to have Sunday services. So what we're doing right now in this virtual service is we're bridging the gap. We are finding ways to do things the best way we can until we're ready to do it a different way. It's a wonderful gift to have in our life, that we get to do things that are safe and appropriate for where we are at that time, knowing that in truth, we're getting ready for the next big step, the next big bridge to cross in our own life. The other thing, when you're standing on a bridge and you look down and you get to see that river go under it, and that is such a beautiful spiritual reminder to us to let things be like water under the bridge. Whether they were good, bad, challenging, or a blessing, they were that in that moment. And if we really want to get to the other side of that bridge, we need to allow all of that to pass, to let go of any of our attachment to it, let it be like water under the bridge. And I know as a community, as we go through this process of making this our home, we will have a variety of ideas, a variety of opinions. And the important thing to know, that though we don't always 100% agree on everything, that each and every one of us are doing the very best that we can, that we do the thing that we think is for the highest and best for our community, and that having different viewpoints help us stretch, help us look at things in a different way. My word for the year is about staying fluid, being able to go with the flow, go with the changes. And when we become fluid instead of static, and that this is the right way, what happens is we get to hear and feel that inner guidance. We get to hear and feel what it's like, the greater strength and collaboration, not just with each other, but with spirit actively in each of our decisions, each of our actions, knowing that we are doing everything we're doing out of love. We really have a life of bridges. We're always crossing bridges. Something is happening, graduating from high school, starting a career. There's all these points where we went from where we were to someplace quite a bit different. Some of the bridges that we get will be lifesavers. Some will be baggages that we need to just let go. We need to burn those bridges. Some bridges that we cross will confirm that we are on the right path, that this road that brought us to this day was just delightful and just what we want in our life. Other ones really do need to be burned. And maybe there's even ones that we've crossed that we wish we didn't cross. We didn't like where we ended up so much. But I know that each of us is empowered by a faith of knowing there is a divine presence, a divine energy, a divine vibration that moves not only within us, but through all the events in our life, and that we are always being divinely guided. I also firmly believe there are no wrong paths. There are paths that offer different journeys, different experiences, but ultimately, life is always, it's like the dice are loaded towards good. You know, there's that wonderful saying that in the end, it's all good. And if it's not good, it's not the end. We are just on that journey. And maybe we took the long way around, but it's okay because there was something that was going to gift us. Bridges are such an important development in all of us humans having this experience. You know, ways that seemed impassable before all of a sudden become a possibility, all of a sudden become our reality, that we are able to do it, no matter how short or how long that bridge is, that we have the capabilities within us, divinely guided, centered in spirit, to go on that pathway for our ultimate good. If it's not good, it's not the end. If it's not good, it's not the end. So this week, yeah, oh, be with you a sec. Okay, here we go. I'm going to ask you, what will you do with your bridges this week? Will you burn some? Will you go across some? Or will you build some? Or maybe do all three? But what a wonderful experience it is to be really conscious on the movement we're making in our life towards that next step, towards that awareness of our oneness, towards our own spiritual growth. Yeah, it's great. See you on the bridge. I'd just like to take a moment to really feel the gratitude in each of our lives for the many things that we've been blessed with. At Unity Spiritual Center, I want to thank each and every one of you for your support, prayer support, volunteer help out at our new building, the financial support that allows us to keep operating. We've just had an amazing journey and we're still in it. We're still on the COVID bridge, but really seeing the sustainability of this ministry, this community that, started out in the ashes of the fire 16 months ago and continues to live and breathe and grow as we move through this journey. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And also a wonderful reminder that we are a tithing community, and we share with our tithes. Part of it goes to a local charitable organization that gets chosen each quarter by you. So this is your last week to vote for. You can vote for 3 choices from the list for 2021. So I do hope you take a moment and send an email into the office so you can check out what those choices are on our website, or look through some of our Facebook posts. And also, let's celebrate the prosperity that we've been gifted with as individuals. Yeah, the beautiful snow when you don't have to drive in it, sunsets. It's been some magnificent sunsets this week. Just those joys, whatever has brought you joy this week. Could be your pets, could be a phone call, could be a Facebook connection that you hadn't talked with for quite a while. And know that each and every one of these things that brings a smile to your face, a warmth to your heart, is one of those great gifts. This is your prosperity. This is your abundance. This is the juiciness of life. So let us take a moment together as we bless the many gifts we received. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. And just a little note that this is Unity on Demand, so you can binge watch us all 3 segments at a time, or watch anyone whenever you have a segment at a time. You can kind of split it up so it fits your schedule. And if you're watching us Sunday at 10:30, join us live on our Zoom fellowship time. God bless. Have a fabulous week. We'll close out with our song, I Choose Love. So feel it, sing it, be it.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Yes, I do. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.